When I was a little girl and I was finished playing outside, I would come inside to retreat from the sun and its heat. I could feel the beads of sweat dripping off my head, and my skin was hot and sticky, and despite my best efforts to prepare for the heat with my clothes, my t-shirt and my shorts did nothing more but just make me hotter. But there was one thing I always did, though, to cool off, and that was getting a nice glass of water. I would go to the cabinet, grab a glass out of the cabinet, walk over to the sink, and fill it with tap water. Times are different now, though. We don't fill up at the sink anymore. We have these incredibly convenient prepackaged bottles of water. While this may seem like a step forward for humanity, you may be surprised to find that there are safety issues with these packaged bottles of water. It's critical that the dangers that are presented do not go unnoticed, and we must remain keenly aware of problems that could arise in the future. Ultimately, to steer away from the plastic bottles would be the ultimate answer, but not very realistic. Bottled water is part of a multi-million-dollar industry, but you will be surprised at how unsafe it is and how the promises of purity from many vendors are just not so. Consider, for example, how many vendors rant and rave about the fact that they are eco-friendly because they use recycled and reused plastic. That sounds impressive, right? But finally, we can appreciate the fact that these large companies are cognizant of the environmental damage that they are doing by not recycling. Scott Belcher, a pharmacology professor at the University of Cincinnati, says that this is not that great. It's not as great as we think. Disposable bottles are meant to be used one time and then disposed of, not reused. The problem is that we are producing way too much plastic, and it is becoming detrimental to our environment, the wildlife in it, and to ourselves. The United States is fortunate enough to have the best drinking water in the world. We are home to over 113 brands of water, from Beverly Hills 90H2O to the East Coast Deer Park. Water is universal. It's a part of our daily lives. Many of you could go home right now and find a bottle of water. While other brands sell their different tastes, some just simply sell on the basic fact that it is a amenity that we must all have. All of them have one thing in common, though, and that would be their packaging. The United States alone produces 29 billion plastic bottles per year. To put that number in perspective, if you were to simply count from 1 to 29 billion, you would be done in the year 4,580. Simply put, we produce a lot of plastic. Bottled water is growing faster than anything on the market right now. Financial experts have been seeing double-digit growth rates for a decade. The production is not slowing. It is picking up speed and slowly ruining our world. Gary Hemphill, the managing director of research at the Corporate Marketing Corporation, says that every segment of the bottled water industry is growing, and we consider bottled water to be the most successful mass market beverage in the United States. This is good news. We should be happy about this, right? This is a healthy step of progression for the United States. Not necessarily. We should be fueling ourselves with healthy food and drink. This is something we can all agree on. However, one thing we may disagree on is that how safe are these bottles of water? The Global Healing Center on Natural Health and Organics and Living Organics reports that there are many different toxic chemicals in our drinking water, such as arsenic, fluoride, and chlorine. These chemicals like fluoride brighten teeth, it can also be toxic. That's why fluoride is a main ingredient in toothpaste and can be a main ingredient in sarin gas, a very toxic nerve agent. Additionally, according to the New Jersey's Department of Health, male children who lived in areas with fluoridated water had 2 to 7 times more cases of bone cancer than other male children. This is the kind of information that is constantly being overlooked and could be affecting our life every day. These ills presented by bottles of water affect wildlife, humans, and our environment. Consider the fact that plastic bottle caps are not recyclable. This may seem like not a big issue considering that the plastic cap is so small compared to the bottle itself. However, when you're producing billions of bottles, that adds up. An albatross found dead on a Hawaiian island was to have found 119 bottle caps in his stomach. A sperm whale died when a plastic container jammed in his small intestine. And our sea life is totally burdened with all of the plastic that we are dumping into our oceans, rivers, and lakes every day. The plastic packaging is killing our animals, and it is also killing us, as the main ingredient to make the plastic hard and clear for our bottles is bisphenol A, otherwise known as BPA. It has been linked to cancer, neurological difficulties, early puberty in girls, reduced fertility in women, and premature births. The environment receives the hardest blow from the process, as one main necessity for the distribution and transportation of the plastic bottles is fossil fuel, notably oil. According to One Green Planet, a respected, renowned hub of environmental trends, if you were to fill a water bottle up with 25% liquid, that would represent the amount of oil that it takes to produce that bottle of water. Multiplied by millions of produced daily, you begin to see how significant it is. The bottled water industry is one that simply seems like it is one of the industries in good standing. Unfortunately, this is not entirely true. While we should certainly not wage war against drinking water, we should be advocating for a war against a better environmentally safe way to distribute it and to consume it. The industry is continuing to grow. The water itself is still dangerous to human consumption, to humans, and continues to plague us, animals, and our environment. Hopefully, if any of you have a little girl one day, she will have safe water at her fingertips. Unfortunately, we have damaged our own environment. Hopefully, this will not continue in our next generation. So go out tonight, buy a BPA-free water bottle, and commit to using it on a daily basis instead of the plastic water bottles. And drink up, because the fight against the plastic packaging will be draining. Thank you.